Hi, you're again with Volleyball Explained Podcast and our edition about the Italian League. I'm Bogdan and Nicola is also here. Unfortunately, Ronnie is not in our watch today, but I believe that we, both of us, will be pretty much enough in order to comment and analyze what happened in the last three rounds of the Italian Superlega. And starting today with the results from these three rounds, of course, some other matches have been played due to the fact that LUBE and Trento will play in the Cup World Championship in December. So these matches have been played earlier than scheduled. Let's start with the results from the fifth round. We have a derby back then between Perugia and Trento. A derby not to be because Perugia beat Trento 3-0. Monza beat Piacenza 3-0 in the other match, which has been expected for many people because Monza and Piacenza are both in top four in the ranking so far. Top five, sorry, of course, with LUBE, Trento, and Perugia. Milano LUBE 0-3. Verona Taranto 3-2 and first win for the team of Radostin Stoichev and Verona. Ravenna Modena 0-3. Cisterna Vibo 3-1. These matches have been played on 6th and 7th of November. Then we have two matches. Monza LUBE 0-3 for LUBE. Again, LUBE with a win. And Ravenna Trento, another win for the favorites from Trento 3-0. These matches, as I mentioned, were played a little bit earlier than scheduled. Then in the sixth round, Perugia beat Milano 3-0, even though the sets were pretty even. LUBE beat Modena 3-1. Actually, this is the only set lost by LUBE in these matches we are going to analyze and comment. Trento beat Monza in another very interesting match, 3-1. Vibo, Ravenna 3-0. Piacenza, Cisterna 3-1. Taranto, Padova 3-0, which is a pretty interesting result because Padova is a team that is performing pretty well. These were the matches from the sixth round. We have in the round 10, but played earlier, LUBE Taranto 3-0 and Trento Piacenza, another very interesting and curious match, 3-1 for Trento. And in the seventh round, we have Vibo LUBE 0-3, Modena Trento 3-0, Milano Verona 3-1, Ravenna Perugia 0-3, Padova Piacenza 3-2, and Cisterna Monza 2-3 with two match points missed for the team of Cisterna in the tiebreak. Nicola, first some impressions, general impressions from these matches, and then we're going to talk team by team along the ranking.
I think that outside of Perugia and LUBE, every other matches played were pretty unpredictable. You could expect almost everything. I mean, we've seen Padova go in and win at the tiebreak in Trento, then losing 3-0 in Taranto, and then again beating at the tiebreak Piacenza. So most of the game are, I would say, the final result is determined by just a bunch of plays, the status or the focus some player on the ball that will decide the outcome of the entire game, as happened in Cisterna Monza, as you mentioned, but also in a couple of sets that could have changed the momentum of the entire match. I'm thinking about the last game played by Trento against Modena when La Via had a set ball. Trento was the 25-24, then they missed the ball to close it, and they ended up losing 3-0. On the rest, I think that Perugia is crushing every opponent so far. As we told from the beginning of this year that they will be the team to beat. But I don't think they have been tested yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, they were tested in the Super Cup and they lost. So this is the only defeat for them since the beginning of the matches. But let's go to the ranking. And firstly, we should note that the ranking is a little bit messy because some teams like LUBE and Trento played 9 matches until now. Some teams have 8 matches, some teams have 7, and some teams have also 6 matches only played. So the ranking will be more organized and tidy, let's say it in this way, in the end of December, after the end also of the Club Pro Championship, where Trento and LUBE will play. But in Brazil, let's start then with LUBE. LUBE is the team on fire because they in those 5 matches we mentioned the results just minutes ago. They have 5 out of 5 wins and only 1 set lost against the team of Modena. And we should also remind the spectators or the listeners that Ivan Zaytsev is still injured. So they're playing without Ivan Zaytsev, and they found their shape.
Yeah, they've also played without Osmani Guantorena from 4 of these 5 matches, and the other was basically sent in just to gain some minutes. And that's the big thing about LUBE. They answered as a team in all the difficulties. They actually are the only team with 6 different MVPs so far in the league. Six players that won at least one MVP title, and Lucarelli is adapting pretty well to the Checo settings, which we know how good is the Checo. So let's say that it wouldn't be so difficult to foresee that coming. And the Ant and Kovar are been covering the Guantorena absence pretty well. Anzani and Balazzo are in a great form. I would say from Balazzo almost the European Championships form. And the only question mark along the game is Gabi Garcia, who has his up and downs. But at the end, it fit perfectly in the kind of game that LUBE is developing right now without the 2 stars we've mentioned, Guantorena and Zaytsev. When those 2 will be back, I think the LUBE will probably steal a couple of points behind Perugia, and the last game of the season will be LUBE Perugia, so we will have a funny ending.
Yeah. Let's mention about Gabi Garcia that he's coming directly for NCAA, the American College League. So the level there is totally different. I asked some players, Bulgarians playing there, and they told me that the level there is very similar to the level of the Bulgarian league. Let's say that the teams from 3rd to 6th, 7th place in the Bulgarian league. That means that the level of NCAA is not that good, and it's very different to play in NCAA and directly to play in Italy without having a season or 2 in a championship like probably French, Turkish, German, something like this. So it's a little bit of a shocker for him to play on that level, but I believe that he's adjusting pretty quickly. And of course, the Czech is not setting too many balls for him, which is pretty normal. He wants to include him to adjust both his setting and the attack of Gabi Garcia to be suitable and appropriate for the Italian league. Let's go to the 2nd ranked team. This is the team of Trento. They played 9 matches and have 19 points. They started very well, but then lost to Padova, lost to Perugia, and thereafter lost also to Modena. Of course, we should note here that Michieletto missed 3 matches, I believe, and Matey, Kaziyski missed the last match again against the team of Modena, and Podrascanin is not playing also in the last two games. So I would say that Trento could be a very good team, but only if all the players are healthy and kicking, let's say it in this way. And if they have some injuries, it will be very hard for them. And actually, the results are a confirmation for that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we knew beforehand that the starting lineup of Trento would be a pretty good team, but the reserves are not at the same level. Even if the Belgian middle blocker Wout there, who played for Podrascanin both against Piacenza and I guess Modena, played pretty well in my opinion. Actually, Trento has 19 points after 9 games. I wouldn't ever say that in the beginning of the season. They've already played all the big teams. The 3 games there are left for closing the Andata. The first round of games are against Taranto, Cisterna, and Milano. So probably Trento will end the Andata at 24, 25, or 26 points, which is a great amount of points considering where they're starting. The 2 big matches they've lost, because we already talked about the game against Padova, which was like a very strange game. Trento could have won it even before the tiebreak, and they ended up losing it in the tiebreak. But the 2 big matches they lost, they exploit what's the weakest point in Trento, and we underlined it before the season started, which is the reception. And they faces 2 teams that are serving very well, and they weren't able to turn things around, especially in the last round. Nimir and Gapè, they're toying with the reception of Trento. So sad. We also have to analyze that Trento against Modena lined up a team that was basically an under 23 teams. It was the youngest team ever lined up by Trento in its entire history, the 20 years of history, except for Lisnak, which is 29 years old. The rest was a bunch of kids and players on the rising, like Lavia and the same Michieletto. So they had convincing victory against the middle pack, let's call it like that, against Monza and against Piacenza. They ended up winning, and they also overcome some bad times that they caused by themselves. And I'm talking about, for example, the 3rd set against Piacenza. They won the set 25-21. Out of the 21 of points for Piacenza, 15 were errors by Trento. So Trento somehow, despite the young age of the player, managed not to be doomed by the mistake, to keep playing. And I want to say that everyone is fully satisfied for how the team is going so far, but the future seems to be bright for a team that seemed to have to rebuild from zero after last summer.
Yeah, actually, I was a little bit surprised by the fact that against the team of Modena, they played again with the system with 3 outside hitters and not with more classical system with Giulio Pinali, and Oreste Cavuto played instead of Matey Kaziyski, but probably they have trained that much that they don't want to change that much. Okay, let's go.
Actually,
go on.
Sorry about Cavuto. Lorenzetti said that he played Cavuto because it promised him that if Cavuto would have put a lot of effort in training, they would have time to play in big matches. So probably that was the combination of the 2 things. Lorenzetti wants to keep the 3 outside hitter system and give a prize to Cavuto and let him play in this big match.
I don't know if we need to talk that much about Perugia, the 3rd ranked team with only 6 matches and 18 points. That means that they didn't miss even 1 point so far. They have 6 wins out of 6 matches, and they took 18 points so far. So Leon Anderson, Gianelli, Rychlicki, very dominating team. And probably the question now is one, if they have been challenged enough so far, because Trento was not in the shape and in the condition to do it. And probably the second question is, so when are they going to lose something?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've played against 5 of the bottom 6 teams of the rankings so far, and the Trento without Michieletto.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wouldn't matter, in my opinion, for how the games develop, being Michieletto or not on the court, that they wouldn't matter. Perugia would have won straight set in both ways. But in the next month, they will have much more challenging games, and plus the Champions League. So, because the only 2 teams that basically played 3 times every week so far has been LUBE and Trento, because of the games you already pointed out that were been anticipated because they were Club World Cup. Any other team had to just to play twice a week, plus some middle week games here and then. And Perugia already has his rest game day. So they've already stopped one game because the Superlega is made of 14 games and just 12 could play. So we will see how they will react to the fact that they will be continually playing for the next month, basically, and they will play against Monza, Piacenza, Modena, LUBE, Padova, and the Vibo, if I'm not wrong. So they will have a lot of challenging games, and the Champions League between the games. So I think that around Christmas we will know if Perugia already killed the regular season, or there are some hopes for the team in the end. But right now they're unplayable. It seems like Gianelli have already found the right way to set to Leon, and Leon started again to be devastating from the serving line. I mean, he already scored 7 aces in 2 different games. So we will have him back the Leon in 2019-2020 form, and that's very scary for every opponent.
Next team is Monza. Monza is doing, I believe, very well, taking into account that they don't have the resources of LUBE, of Perugia, of course, of Modena, and they have 15 points out of 8 matches. They lost to Trento and LUBE, but they won against the team of Piacenza. They won also against the team of Cisterna, even though in a tiebreak, and this unbelievable series from the serving line from Donovan Javornok. They have Georg Grozer as an opposite. They have Alex Grozdanov, and they have a playmaker. For him, not that many people talk that much, Santiago Orduna, but he's playing on a very big and good level, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. And he's also trying to take out the best from Daviskiba, who also had 2 great games. The last two games from Monza, even the one lost against Trento, who was one of the players who never broke totally. But Monza, we told that they could be one of the surprises. I don't know if we could call them a surprise because, well, last year they finished 4th and go through the semifinals. So they're proving that it was just a 1-year wonder, and they're playing as a team. Is the 2nd year under Ekeli, so some situations, some connection that work pretty well, and they have an incredible player like Grozer, which, if it would have been more consistent, well, first of all, probably would have played more in bigger league than in some Asian leagues. But Monza probably could have had 3 or 4 points more. And then we already know that the bunch of youngsters they have, Grozdanov, Javornok. We don't talk a lot about Javornok because it's already his 5th season, I think. But the guy is, 23? 20, I think 23 or 24.
I will check, but by the way, I don't know why he's not playing in the Czech national team. Yeah, he's only 24.
Yeah, 24 to 1997.
Yes.
7. Yeah.
I was very surprised because the Czech team played a quarterfinal in the European Championship this year. They were actually the hosts of their
group
of their group and pools. But I don't know why he's not playing there. But anyway, I thought he's a little bit older, but you're right. He's only 24, and he's in the Italian Championship for in Monza actually for 4 or 5 years already. So, and he's very consistent. Actually, he's the let's say in the first outside hitter, the more consistent, and the Viskiba is also playing a very good level. I believe that also the Bulgarian Denis Karagin could grow alongside these two. So this is a very fruitful place to work and to grow as a player, because I believe also that this is the right place also for the other Bulgarian, Alex Grozdanov.
Definitely. And you play without the pressure. You have to win every game. It's a play where you can develop at the right timing for your personal skills, and also Monza proved that could beat everyone. I mean, if they are in the good day, they could overcome any opponents except for Perugia, but we'll see how they perform.
Next team, Piacenza. Piacenza have 14 points out of 8 matches. And this team is a little bit of a, I don't know, I don't want to say mess, but it's something is not very right and a little bit strange, awkward in this team. And I believe they are struggling time to time. Okay, they beat LUBE as a guest, but they won pretty bad. They were defeated pretty badly against Trento. They were pretty badly, even worse, against the team of Monza. Now they were beaten also from Padova, which is even a bigger issue. And I believe they are struggling due to the fact that with this problem with the limitation of foreigners, due to the fact that 3 Italians should play, when they make a substitution, they need almost all the time, except for the time being when they need to change the setter because they're both French, and the opposite because they are both foreigners, Turkish national and Slovenian national, and of course the libero, but this is another. So anytime they need to change a middle blocker or an outside hitter, they need to change one more substitution in order to balance this rule for the Italians. 3 Italians at the same time needed in court. So, for example, if they need to change, I don't know, Kaneski with Holt, they need to give a place for another Italian in the outside hitter position. So it's very hard to balance and actually to make the team play consistently, because they are all the time playing with a different roster.
That's exactly, if you remember what I was pointing out when we had our preview. We thought that the deep of the bench of Piacenza could be their best asset, but also the biggest weakness, especially if it's even difficult for a player like Brizard to keep adapting to a new set of teammates almost every set. You can find out how weak could it be for any other setter. And there are days where they're completely off. You told about the losses against Monza, but the one against Trento was terrible in attacking for whoever played as an opposite or outside hitter. The only player above 50% that game was Holt, who just spiked, I think, 9 times. So they, sorry, the fact that they have to change at least 2 players almost every rotation, it's also, made worse by the injuries of Recci, because they have to skip some games because of, if I'm not wrong, a knee injury while he was the starting player at the beginning of the season. So you have to play Antonov if you want to have Holt, or you have to play with 2 Italian middle blockers if you want to keep Russell and Rossard on the court. So it's difficult for Bernardi, and it's also difficult because this team is under pressure. Unlike Monza, that we thought that they could play with a mind-free set, this team has been built to at least get in the top 4 and try to sneak in the semi-final, I don't know, in Coppa Italia or during the playoff. So things are getting little heated. Like it's in the last game, there have some argument between the bench players and the supporters of Piacenza that travel to Padova. So that gives you the sense of how the environment is right now. If the players will be all healthy, probably Bernardi will have less problem. But we will say how they will perform in the next games. But I think that if they just adjust a couple of situations, then they will still be in the 4th or 5th place at the end of the season.
Next team is Padova. We mentioned them in the beginning, but Padova is playing very well against the big teams and not that well against the smaller teams in the second part of the ranking. They have 9 points. They are 6th placed, 9 points out of 6 matches. They beat Trento and Piacenza, but lost to Taranto, which is very strange thing, but it's a fact. They have, as we mentioned also in the previous edition, they have a German pair setter opposite in Zimmermann and Weber, and they have Mattia Botovo, who became the MVP against the team of Piacenza. I don't know what to add from the previous time talking about Padova. They're a little bit of a strange team. I knew that they have the potential to not be included in the fight for staying in the league, because they could be better, and they are better than that. But I didn't expect for them to win against Trento and Piacenza.
I think that pretty much anybody wouldn't expect that. And if you consider that Padova is the only team that lost points against Ravenna, because Ravenna has just 1 point, and they took it against Padova in the tiebreak. So I like them because it's a funny team to watch playing. Because Zimmermann is playing pretty well. I didn't expect him. Unlike you, I put Padova not fighting for the relegation, but a little bit more in danger than other teams. And we had not the pleasure to see Zimmermann playing so much in the past season here in Italy. But now they're having fun. They actually are attacking with very low percentage, because they never get above 50% in any of the games they played. But they're a team that is never knocked out during a set. In the last game against Piacenza, they were two set down, They were down also in the first set, even badly, 5 or 6 points, and somehow with the grit, with the spirit of fighting, they come back and took the 2 points, which is also what happened against Trento. Even if we know that Trento had the injury of Michieletto and some other problems that game. But Padova is a team that is never backing down. So that's what's probably make Coutinho, the coach, more proud of everything else. And if some teams like Vibo keep on being so inconsistent, keep on struggle along the season, Padova really had a chance to sneak into the playoff picture.
Yeah, and we now reach the elephant in the room, the team of Modena. Modena lost to Piacenza, Modena lost to LUBE, and eventually they won against. They lost also against Monza in the first round, and now they beat the team of Modena of Trento. Can we say that this is the starting of a rise for the team of the president Katia Pedrini and the head coach Andrea Gianni?
Well, definitely the victory against Trento gave them a confidence boost, even if it was decimated Trento, as we mentioned. And also from the analyst from Modena and all the interview, the players and everybody realized that victory was way easier than expected. But Modena played the best game so far in their season. They were on point in attacking. Finally, Bruno and Nimir had a very good connection. Also, the middle blockers, Stankovic has a 100% attacking, 6 out of 6. Mazzone was very good on blocking, and Gappet also had a pretty good game. He was also nominated MVP at the end of it. Maybe just Leal is still a little behind, but that game probably will, how can I say, will be the turning point of the season so far for Modena. That was pretty disappointing in general. Next game is against Perugia in Perugia, so we will really see how they react. Yeah, I don't know, because
probably
they lost 3-1 to LUBE, but they actually won the only set against LUBE in the past six games for LUBE, and they also had a chance to win another one because they lost 32-30, if I'm not wrong, the fourth set, the last set, and then they could have took the game to the tiebreak. So yeah, I think that this game could be the start of something good for Modena, and which is also having a good feeling from the Sev Cup, where they blasted some Finnish team in the round they played during the week. So I'm actually looking forward for the games Perugia Modena, just to say both teams will be tested in this game, so we will see.
Yeah, this match will be played on 24th of November, which is actually tomorrow, taking into account the day of recording. We are recording on Tuesday, and I hope today, in terms of the day of the publication of the podcast, but who knows, I will try to do it. Okay, we have 6 teams left in the ranking. Let's consider their performance in 2 groups of 3. Let's start with Milano, 9 points, Cisterna 7 points, and Taranto 7 points. Respectively, Milano have played 6 matches, Cisterna 6 matches, and the team of Taranto 7 matches. Let's mention here that Taranto beat, I believe, they beat Padova and I think Ravenna, and they took also 1 point against Verona. Yeah, exactly. And Cisterna on their side beat, for example, the team of Vibo, and we are going to talk about Vibo a little bit later. Milano, I could say that I was expecting a little bit more. They beat Verona in the last round, but they lost, for example, very easily against some other teams. So they beat also Monza. So it's not that inconsistently from them, because they lost more to better teams on paper, and they will play. I believe they also played LUBE before, but in the first match, I'm not totally sure about it.
Yeah, Milano is.
In the fifth round, they played also against LUBE, so they played against the best teams so far.
Exactly. I mean, they have 9 points, and that's fine. I mean, they lost against LUBE, they lost against Perugia, and they lost against Piacenza. They beat Monza, they beat Vibo, and they beat Verona. That's what we expected from them. I mean, if we have had to pick a result before every of its games, we probably would have seen the same thing. So I mean, Milano with an easier schedule would be higher in the rankings so far. They had a balanced schedule, and they win where they have to win, and they lost when they have to lose. So I wouldn't say anything special about them. Patry had a monster game last game against Verona. And they just been a little bit disappointed against Perugia, not only for the last set, which ended up the 25-12, if I'm not wrong. I mean, they would beat very, very badly, but that was the only down game they had so far. Cisterna and Taranto are those kind of teams that you could expect them to fight for every point against the other relegation teams, and expect them to win if the situation requires them to win at all cost. Otherwise, they could lose even in a silly way, because Cisterna lost a game against Monza that they could have won pretty easily, especially in the tiebreak. Taranto had a very good game against Padova. I hope they will not have a very good game tomorrow against Trento. But on the other end, they fought against Vibo. Despite the loss, they won against Ravenna. They were we expected them to be at the beginning of the season. Both teams, in my opinion.
By the way, talking about Taranto, I would say that. By the way, sorry again. I again said Taranto. And this is some kind of inspiration from the Canadian Toronto. So Taranto. Probably I need to repeat that a lot of times, but Taranto have 7 points out of 7 matches, and I believe if they keep this proportion and win points per match, I believe the 24 points at the end will be totally enough for staying in the league. Especially taking into account the fact that Ravenna will probably be one of the relegating teams this season. Let's remind and repeat again that 2 teams will relegate and only 1 will be promoted, in order for the next season to have only 12 teams in the league. Okay, let's go to the last 3 teams. The teams of Vibo, or the social media team, like as Ronnie calls them. Verona, with their first win against the team of Taranto, with 2 points out of 6 matches, and Ravenna with 1 point out of 8 matches. So their situation is pretty bad.
Yeah, we knew that Ravenna would have struggled. We knew all the difficulties they have to build the team and to take part of this in this Superlega this year. So we're not expecting them to having more points, but they've lost the last 13 sets they played. They lost 3-0 the last 4 games, and they lost 3-1 against maybe, sorry, let's check, against Monza. So that's the last set they won, was 5 games ago against Monza. And they keep on adding players to the roster, and they're trying to have a new solution, but I think that their destiny will be to be relegated. I mean, I don't give them any chances to fight back and to stay in the Superlega. About Verona, I will let you say something, but about Vibo, let me add just when you change 5/6 players of the team of the previous year, and the team of the previous year was playing so well, your bouncing back is much more worse than it actually looks. I mean, it was pretty unlikely that Vibo would have kept the same level of last year. So right now, looking at where we are and having in mind what they achieved last year, that's what makes the difference. We have to remind that last year was the difference of the years of Vibo in Superlega. I mean, Vibo, if it wouldn't be that for Superlega canceled the relegation 3 seasons ago, would be playing in Serie 2. So that's the level of Vibo. We expect more from some Brazilians. At least I expected more. Ronnie didn't. He told that those players was probably the less quoted Brazilians on the market. And now things are even turning a little bit more black because of the Nishida injuries in the last game against LUBE. Because for as much as we say that Nishida needs to be tested, to be consistent, it's one of those players who makes the difference in this team. And without him, it will be very, very, very difficult for Vibo to recover.
Yeah, and actually I remember that in 2016 when I was attending the Serie A1, Serie A1, the Cup semifinals and final. Back then, Vibo won the Serie A2 Coppa d'Italia, the Cup of Italy. So it's not a team which is in principle in the top teams or even in the 6-7 teams in Italy. So, but taking into account that they spend a lot of money on Nishida, on the Brazilians in the team, probably they would need more reward for the investment. And talking about Verona, yeah, I mentioned that also in the previous editions in the podcast, but it's a little bit problematic taking into account the fact that most of the players, I mean the players who should score a lot, they're very young. We have Rok Možić, who is only 19, I believe. We have Giulio Magalini, 19, or 20, I'm not sure, but under 21 for sure, because he was part of the team that became a world champion, U21. Asparuchas Peruchov, okay, a 3rd season in Italy, I think, but still 21 years of age. Mats Jensen, 22, I think so. The average age of the outside hitters and the opposite of the team is around 20, 21 max. So it's very hard because those players are not that experienced. Taking into account also the fact that Spirito is not doing well, or at least he's not doing with thought he should be doing in this period of his career. It's very hard for Verona and for Radostin Stoichev as their head coach to do better. Of course, we have expected for them to be in a better placed in the ranking, because they lost, for example, against the team of Padova. But as we can imagine now, this is not that big of a surprise. It seems their only win was against Taranto a round ago, and they lost against Milano. Okay, if we have something positive in their performance, this is the fact that they played pretty well in the first 2 sets against Milano, but then it was all the same thing. Yeah, and I believe that we can end this edition of the podcast with the matches that will be played. Actually, the match between Milano and Cisterna will start very soon, in just 20-25 minutes. And tomorrow, as mentioned, the big match is between Perugia and Modena. Monza will play Padova. This match could be interesting if Padova performs like they did it against Trento and Piacenza, and not like against Taranto. Verona will play Vibo, and I pretty much hope that Verona can win this. Taranto will play Trento, and I don't think that Trento will have any problems here. And LUBE will play Ravenna in another match that could be a 6th win in the last 6 matches for the team of LUBE, and probably they won't even lose a set.
Yeah, that's it. I will watch Trento Taranto, of course, but also I will keep an eye on Perugia Modena.
Yeah, probably I will concentrate on Perugia and Modena, but thereafter I could have also a look in some of the other matches. Okay, that was pretty much enough for today. I believe that we were extensive enough. We didn't have Ronnie today, but I pretty much believe that he will be he will agree with our considerations, especially for LUBE. Follow us in the social media, in Facebook, Twitter, when it comes to Volleyball Volley, the page of Nicola, also Cuban Spike. Of course, if you like the content of Volleyball Explained, please like here the video if you watch this in YouTube and not listen to it in the podcast platforms. Push this notification bell in order to be notified for next videos in the channel, and see you the next time. Bye.
Bye.